Great friends, it's so nice to be here with you this evening. Today, we have just come through several weeks of profound scrutiny of the desires in our hearts through the framework of the Passover holiday. And we owe our great thanks to our Rob and to our sages, especially you, Rabash, for connecting us with this wisdom and allowing us to really look at what's going on at every level in our hearts, in our desires. So we can only hope and pray that we are now prepared to move forward in a whole new degree as never before in taking responsibility and caring for our friends and for their spiritual advancement. That we would do that at just a whole new level and whole new degree. So we invite you to take up this work as we prepare for this morning lesson. We'll do an excerpt and a workshop to take us into the next degree that we're headed toward. So I'll turn it over to my friend David to read our excerpt. Basalam, Matanto, if 600,000 men abandon their work for the satisfaction of their own needs and worry about nothing but standing guard, so their friends will not lack a thing, and moreover, they will engage in this with great love, with their very heart and soul, in the full meaning of the mitzvah, love you friend as yourself. It is beyond doubt that no one in the nation will need to worry about his own well-being. Because of this, one becomes completely free of securing his own survival and can easily observe the mitzvah, love your friend as yourself. Again, if 600,000 men abandon their work for the satisfaction of their own needs and worry about nothing but standing guard, so their friends will not lack a thing, and moreover, they will engage in this with great love, with their very heart and soul, in the full meaning of the mitzvah, love your friend as yourself. It is then beyond doubt that no one in the nation will need to worry about his own well-being. Because of this, one becomes completely free of securing his own survival and can easily observe the mitzvah, love you friend as yourself. An active work. Question: how can I stand guard for the friend in my heart without words? Again, how can I stand guard for the friend in my heart without words? It's always to live in the greatness of the Creator of such an environment. It will be felt as great as it could, that I have a great exalted goal. Then the friend will fit in the heart without words, to ask, that the Creator will open my heart to the friends. Because in truth I don't control my heart, but I want it. There's room in the heart to ask the Creator to care for the friend like I care for my child. So to care about the friend that he'll be connected all the time. Even on that, can I stand guard? Can I succeed? If the group will be able to maintain such relationships, I'll be able to do it. So regardless of what's going on with me, I need to take care of the upliftment of the group. Then we'll succeed in prayer. Prayer for the friend. Also, use my strength to make the Creator great for the whole group, for the friend as well. To feel it comes out from the care and confidence we wish to add toward the goal that would cover the connection between us as a result of the greatness of the Creator. To worry about the friends, I ask for them to be in this demand, such inner demand of the connection of the hearts, constantly be in their effort to give friends a place for bestow. That's my effort in heart, how to see the Creator behind the friends in every action of mine. Friends, we just finished an incredible holiday, and one of the things that we learned in this is that we can't do this alone. So let's enter a silent workshop. Let's hold the friends in our roots so together we can bring contentment to the Creator. Again, let's hold the friends in our roots so together we can bring contentment to the Creator. Dear friends, we're going to learn a lesson from June 11, 2003, based on the article one should is forbidden to hear a good thing from a bad person. We read it in the 10. We have 26 minutes. Who finish ahead of time, are invited to start a workshop on the main topics from the article. It is forbidden to hear a good thing from a bad person. It is written, and Abraham said to Lot, please let there be no strife between you and me, or between my herdsmen and your herdsmen. For we are brothers. Is not the whole land before you? Please part from me. If to the left, then I will go to the right. If to the right, I will go to the left. We should understand what he says, for we are brothers since they were not brothers. The Tsar interprets this as follows. For we are brothers, meaning the evil inclination and the good inclination are close to one another. One stands to the right of a person and the other to his left. That is, the evil inclination stands to his left and the good inclination to his right accordingly. For we are brothers means that we are speaking of one body, and the quarrel is between the good inclination and the evil inclination, which are called brothers. And this is perplexing. The good inclination tells the evil inclination if to the left, meaning you're telling me to take the path of the left, which is the path of the evil inclination, for it is always on the left, as it is written in the Zohar that the evil inclination is to his left. The good inclination tells him, I will not go by your way. Rather, I will go by the way of the right, the way of the good inclination, which is always on the right. We can understand this, but when it says if to the right, meaning that if the evil inclination goes to the right, which is the path of the good inclination, why does the good inclination tell it, then I will go to the left, meaning that the good inclination will go by the way of the left, which is the path of the evil inclination? This is difficult to understand. Barzil asked, why is it that when Jacob had an argument with Laban, it is written, and Laban replied and said to Jacob, the daughters are my daughters, and the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks, and all that you see is mine. That is wicked. Laban argued that everything is his, meaning that Jacob had no possessions, and everything belonged to wicked Laban. But why is it written, when Jacob gave the presents to Sar, and Sar said, I have a lot, my brothers, let what is yours be yours. And he did not want to receive from him everything he wanted to give him. But Laban claims the opposite, that everything is his. He said that here there is an order of work, how to behave in the work with evil inclination when it comes to a person, with it just arguments in order to obstruct a person from achieving adhesion with the Creator, said, means that it comes with the argument of a righteous. It tells him, when a person wants to pray and wishes to prolong his prayer a little, or another example, when he wants to go study at the seminary, a person had in mind to be as strong as a lion and overcome his laziness. The evil clinician comes and argues it is true that you want to overcome to do the will of your Father in heaven. As it is written, the Bentama says, be as fierce as a leopard, light as an eagle, running like a gazelle, and strong as a lion, to do the will of your Father in heaven. However, I know that you have no desire to do the will of your Father in heaven. I know the truth, that you are working only for self-love, and you have no love for the Creator, so that you can say that the fact that you are going to do something now is for the Creator. Rather, you are working only for me, for the SRA, the other side, and not for Kaddish or sanctity. Thus, what is this overcoming? That is, if you are working for me, then I advise you to sit calmly and enjoy, since everything you want to do is for me. Therefore I have pity on you, so you will not make great efforts and enjoy the rest. This is what Laban said, that is he dressed in a white talit, a prayer, meaning he said, the daughters are my daughters, and all that you see is mine. Jacob conjured him, it is not so. I am working for the Creator. Therefore, it is worthwhile for me to overcome my laziness and do the Creator's will. I do not want to listen to your arguments, the argument of a righteous that you are making. Wicked was the opposite. When Jacob came to him and wanted to give him his possession of Torah and mitzvot, told him, I have a lot, that is, I have a lot of Torah and mitzvot from other people. We're all working for me and not for the Creator. But you are righteous. You are not working for me but for the Creator. Therefore, I have no part in your Torah and work. This is why I do not want to receive it and admit it into my authority. Rather righteous, and you are working only for the Creator. Barsulam asked about it, which of them made the true argument, Laban or he? Said that in truth both say the truth. What is good for the Tsar? The other side, that they obstruct a person from achieving wholeness. The differences in their arguments, whether it comes before the act or it comes after the act. That is prior to the act, when a person wants to overcome and do something in Kaddish to benefit the Creator. The evil inclination dresses in the argument of a righteous and tells him you cannot do anything for Kaddish. Brother, everything you do is for me. This is called all that you see is mine. That is, you are doing everything for the S. In that case, it is better for you to sit and do nothing. Why exert to overcome your laziness? By this it subdues a person so as not to engage in Torah in mitzvot. This is Laban's argument. Esau's argument is after the fact. That is, if one finally overcomes Laban's argument and follows the path of Jacob, comes to him and says, you see what a mighty men of war you are. You are not like your friends, they are lazy, and you are a men, there is no one like you. This puts him into the lust of pride of which our sages said, Rav Castor said, any man in whom there is sioanness of spirit, the Creator said he, and I cannot dwell in the world. For this reason Jacob counters him and argues, this is wrong. Everything I did was only for ye, meaning for his own benefit, which is a will to receive that belongs to the Sidra on the other side. Now I must begin the work anew, so it will all be for the Creator and not for you. But until now, I've been working only for you. And this is what Jacob gave to Esau as a gift, and Esau would not receive from him and argued to the contrary, that Jacob was righteous and worked only for the Creator and not for his own benefit. Now we can interpret what we asked. How can it be said that the good inclination said to the evil inclination, if you take the right path, I will take to the left, after all the path of the left belongs to the, not to the side of holiness. According to the above, we can interpret that the good inclination said to the evil inclination, you should know that you cannot deceive me, because I know one thing, that you want to obstruct me from achieving the degree of a servant of the Creator, meaning that all my thoughts will be in order to bestow, and you due to your role are trying to leave me in self-love. Therefore how can I listen to you right? Meaning when you come to me and clothe in the argument of a righteous, namely advise me to be righteous and work for the Creator. This cannot be, since it is not your role. You probably want to fail my achieving the goal with your counsels. For this reason, when you come with the argument of the right called Laban, what should I do? Anything but listen to you and do the complete opposite of your opinion. This is why it is written, and if to the right, then I will go to the left. Accordingly, a person should always be alert and not fall into the net of the evil inclination that comes to him with the arguments of a righteous and not listen to it. Although it makes us understand that we are not going on the straight path, since what we want to do now is a commandment that comes through transgression. By these words, it ties us and we fall into the trap and the net as it wants to control us with the justness of its words. It is said in the name of the Bamto that to know whether it is the advice of the evil inclination, we must scrutinize if what it says requires labor. It belongs to the good inclination, but if listening to it will cause you not to need to labor, it is the sign of the evil inclination. With this we can discern if this is the advice of the good inclination or the evil inclination. For example, if a thought comes to him that not every person should rise before dawn, that this work belongs to people who their craft, and not just any Jew, and equal wise disciples who must keep, and he will contemplate his Lord day and night, but just a Jew. It also brings evidence from the words of our sages to justify its argument. From what Rabbi said in the name of Rabbi Shammai, even if a person reads only the reading morning and evening is kept, the book of Torah shall not move from your lips. Thus, it argues before him that it is better for you to get up in the morning like everyone else and not be tired the rest of the day. Then you will be able to pray with more intention, and you will be able to pray if you rise before dawn. It is known from all the books of that prayer is the most important, since in prayer the person thinks of nothing but that the Creator will hear his prayer. The prayer is when we can aim more easily and feel before whom we stand. It is not so when studying Torah. Although it is written learning Torah is equal to all of them, it is also interpreted that the meaning is that the Torah brings one importance and greatness of the Creator. It follows that the Torah is only a remedy that brings a person the ability to pray and feel the words before whom you stand, which is a remedy by which to achieve decision. When a person prays to the Creator, he can know with whom he speaks and in what manner is speaking with the Creator. At that time he can annul before the Creator, and this is the most important, that he will annul his own authority. He needs to come to feel that there is nothing in the world but the Creator, and the person wants to adhere to him and annul his own authority. Our sages said even more, all the good deeds that a person does, both Torah and other things in Kadashar, a person can see if they are all in order according to his feeling during the prayer. It follows that prayer is the most important. If you rise before dawn, it will all be ruined. So what are you gaining? Clearly, it is arguing the argument of a righteous. At that time, a person can scrutinize. If he listens to its argument and it will give him more work, then he can know it is the argument of the good inclination. If he listens to its advice and it will give him less work, it is a sign. But now the evil inclination is speaking to him, but it is clothed in the argument of righteous. By this it traps him in the net it is set out for him by speaking to him the words of the righteous. In truth, we always need a guide who knows how to lead a person so as to tell between truth and falsehood, since one cannot scrutinize alone. Accordingly, when the evil inclination comes with an argument of a righteous, wanting to advise a person how he can enter Kadashar, we can interpret what our sages said. Anyone who boasts with a talit, a prayer, sh of a wise disciple, but he is not a wise disciple, is not admitted into the presence of the Creator. We should understand why it is such a grave sin to boast with the mantle of a wise disciple, meaning to regard the clothing of a wise disciple so highly as to boast of it. After all, he did not commit such a grave transgression, worthy of such a harsh punishment, as to not be admitted into the presence of the Creator. It implies that we are speaking of a person who is worthy of being in the presence of the Creator. But this sin of boasting with the garment of a wise disciple deserves such a harsh punishment. We should interpret as it means that even when the evening nation comes to a person and boasts of the tal of a wise disciple, meaning speaks to a person like a wise disciple speaking to an uneducated person and advising him to be a wise disciple, it is his brother asked what is a wise disciple. Why do we not say simply wise? It implies we should know that wise means the Creator, whose desire is to bestow upon his creations. One who learns from the Creator this quality of being a giver is called by his disciple, meaning that he has learned from the Creator to be a giver. Now we can interpret that the evil inclination comes to a person and advises him how to achieve adhesion with the Creator, meaning to be in the presence of the Creator. But he is truly not a wise disciple, namely that the aim of the evil inclination is not to bring him to adhesion, but on the contrary to separation, and it is speaking like a wise disciple because it wants to set a trap for him to divert him from the right path. If a person does not notice who is speaking to him, the good or the evil inclination, and only hears that it is speaking with the talit of a wise disciple, he takes pride in it, meaning lets him understand the importance of wise disciple, while conspiring to avert him to another path to the spirit of form. Then the person is told that he should know that if he listens to its advice, one who listens to its advice will not be admitted into the presence of the Creator, but to the contrary. Therefore, one must be very careful and know with whom he speaks. He should not mind what he's saying, meaning that even if it says good things, he must still not listen to it. It follows that from an indecent person, it is forbidden to hear even decent words. If you listen to it, sorry, still reading, sorry, we should, still reading, even if he says good things, it is still forbidden to listen to him, which follows that from an indecent person, it is forbidden to hear even decent words. We're in a workshop now. I should pay attention to my attitude towards the friends. From which intention am I speaking to them? Be alert and pay attention. Am I listening to the suggestions of the evil inclination? We received the support from the article and the importance of the environment. It gives each and every friend a way to measure to check which way is the evil inclination leading him. This is where he should ask for help. I need to pay attention all the time. Who am I following, the evil inclination or the good inclination? We'll go to a lesson from June 11, 2003. We heard an article from the ranks of the letter that it is forbidden to hear something good from a bad person. Why? And how could it even be that there's good in a bad person? Or could the opposite be there's bad in a good person? Apparently so. The wondering creation is, which we cannot quite accept, is that we cannot advance towards wholeness and eternity only from the opposite of them. For the will to receive is in its foundation neither good nor bad, but rather by the light entering into it. It gives the will to receive an intention to bestow, and without the intention to bestow, the will to receive is just matter. It doesn't even have any degrees of coarseness, but rather the degrees of coarseness begin to be formed in the will to receive to the extent that it begins to use the intention. If it is in order to receive, then degrees of coarseness are root 1, 2, 3, 4 for itself, and if it is with the intention to bestow, then it is root 1, 2, 3, 4 for the Creator. And the coarseness itself is neither for himself nor for the Creator. It is simply substance that enjoys, and feel from the fact that it enjoys only that it exists in the world. And with respect to this substance, there is nothing where it needs to be inverted. It needs to change, but from the intentions, in order to receive where the substance discovers that these intentions right on top of it, he discovers that they are not good. He discovers the recognition of evil in it, that in it, inside the substance, the intentions are bad, that it cannot enjoy. Because of these incorrect intentions, that it only wants to enjoy, and then it tries to replace the intentions to such that it can enjoy Buddhism, and bit by bit discovers that these are the intentions in order to bestow. But the intentions do not belong to the substance itself. We don't understand it, and we don't want to agree with it, that the Creator created creation in such a way that it is the opposite of the revelation of godliness is what awakens us, that the evil inclination is actually the only means that can be trusted that brings us closer to the goal. It doesn't let us remain as still without movement, constantly moves us more and more to search and see how much we're losing by it, and we're not capable of achieving anything good without it. Without the evil inclination, a person will come to a stop, and it follows its advice, the advice of the evil inclination. Then he feels himself that he's getting into trouble. Then he begins to hate the evil inclination, and he reaches the correct solution, that he wants the good inclination, the intention in order to bestow, to replace it, instead of in order to receive, and by the evil inclination completes its role. So we need to love the evil inclination, not to love it, but rather to respect its role, what it does for us, how much it operates, in all kinds of different manners, towards us in order to turn us in the direction of the Creator. This is help made against him. This is why it is written in Abraham, that he says to Lot that if you go left, I'll go right. If you go right, I will go left. This means, how come Abraham doesn't know which way to go? But rather, if Lot chooses the path, Abraham knows that his way is the opposite one, and without it, he won't be able to tell. Without it, he's just delighted in the mercy. He's in a state that has no direction. This is the only purpose for which the evil inclination exists. And although it appears to us sometimes is bad, sometimes it's good, we should always not listen to its advice. Not to listen means to hear the opposite, but it is directing us by that to the correct direction. And as for the Creator, seemingly even though he's almighty, we can't imagine to ourselves how he could have created things differently, but surely he could. Then, why did he create things this way, not that way? We can't know that it's before our creation, and we cannot attain these thoughts. But certainly he could. That saying in our words, in our language, the Creator had no other advice, no other option to create us and direct us towards him, so that there will be someone outside of him that will resemble him 100% truly in the entire stature, with the full power, with all the qualities, if not through substance that feels pleasure, and through the intention which directs the substance in the opposite manner, in the opposite form, because otherwise the substance would always be under the governance of the Creator. It would always be attached to him according to the intensity of its desire. It would always be in the coarseness of root in itself, and in the coarseness of the root in terms of independence. and because the opposite intentions of the Creator reach this substance, then it turns out that on the one hand it moves away from the Creator. On the other hand, it receives this direction of adhering. So by moving away it acquires independence, and by adhering it acquires equivalence of form, and it becomes like him. This means that without the evil inclination, our substance, the will to receive, would truly never be able to reach being on an equal level with its emanator, with our inator. Okay, he writes in the article that until he will have our guide, the person doesn't know how to go. So it looks like he's constantly in the evil inclination. The evil inclination is our guide. It is our guide, the trustworthy guide. It is certain that by it we will reach the purpose of creation. It only depends on us on how do we accept this guide. If I accept it within my will to receive, or I accept it in the opposite form, and then I read it correctly, but it is telling me how I shouldn't go. Whether it is telling me if it works along with the will receive, then it tells me about all the holes on my path, where if it comes to me naturally, and if I read it correctly, that by pulling me to all kinds of things, it is pulling me only to bad things in order for me to overcome them, and prefer instead of it to adhere to the Creator. So out of that I discover its help in the correct way. How else can I build independence? I'm now sitting down, right. It pulls me to some side, like Abraham said, if left I'll go right. If right, I'll go left, right. So it is pulling me to some side. Now I know that if now I will overcome it, pull in some direction to enjoy from doing some things, if I'll overcome some pull with respect to what? With respect to adhering to the Creator, instead of being drawn to it. So this adhesion with the Creator is something that I already earned. This exertion now to the right. Now he pulls me to the left in some direction. Let's enjoy over there if I will overcome it. But overcome how? Not just overcome that I'll go to a monastery and destroy the wood to receive. I want with all of that it is pulling me. I want to position to place the Creator ahead of him. His greatness, his eternity, his wholeness is something that is greater than this pull. So I need to ask of him to be revealed, to give me strength, to give me the group, and this group will influence me with the greatness of the Creator, and then I'll be drawn not to the right or to the left and to all these pools, but with all of these pools I'll nevertheless remain in the direction of the Creator, to adhere to him. Then we see that all of his pools to the right, to the left, whichever way, he's pulling me to all kinds of pleasures, according to their character, also according to whatever will be in them. With all of this is actually awakening in me precisely those directions, those manners, by which I build the form of my attraction to the Creator. By this I build my part of its forms, my part of Kadasha, and this evil inclination is doing precisely the correct work in quantity and quality, and one after the other, through cause and consequence, and in all kinds of different forms that it is revealed to me, revealed in me. It is giving me precisely those temptations, so that if I invert them, and on top of them I yearn for the Creator, then by this I add and add and add to my poo of Kadasha. Maybe it's not coming from the inclination one time, maybe from the good inclination. How do I know it attracts me from the good inclination? Can something come instead of the evil inclination? It's a correct question. The answer is simple. How come? I mean what I mean by how come from. Where will a person have a good inclination? You mean by chance? If I entirely the consequence of the shattering of the vessel that was broken completely, how could it be that there's something good in me? The point in the heart. The point in the heart is not considered good, but it's attracted to good things. To which things? Either way is a person to things related to spirituality is not good things. No, the point in heart does not draw me to good things. It draws me to pleasures which are beyond those that are clothed around me there, with money and honour and knowledge and all kinds of things, to pleasures. Why is that good? How come it's good? I like a donkey. I wake up suddenly. It's not good for me. It's good for me. It's good. You're not listening. The problem is that you're not hearing what I'm telling you. If to just be drawn to greater pleasures, it's called good. There is a person who is living $1,000 a month is enough for him. Suddenly, he's drawn to have $100,000 a month. He's going to steal Is it good he's drawn to? Have more. What's wrong with it? So, is it good to be drawn to it? So, is it better? Is it good to be drawn to something greater? If you have a screen, it is good. But if you don't have a screen, it's bad. Just a greater will to receive is not considered good. It is an essential thing that needs to be revealed on the path. That's correct. But don't assign to it a plus positive. It's not positive. It's still a question how much we can make it into something positive. But just being drawn to greater things could be very bad. It says sit and do nothing is better. You have many such verses that tell you that you know. What do we say? Remain under the restriction until you have a screen to do things in order to bestow. Don't weaken the will to receive as much as you have it, but only to the extent that you can use it in order to bestow what is good. Just some bunch of will to receive. Is that good? If the purpose of creation is to adhere to the Creator, not just to sit there on top of a bank of desires that have no correction, why is that good? It's good to be. It's better to be in or with a little bit of sanctity than to have such greatness in the shell. That I understand is good, not the opposite. Why are you saying it? He says in the article that there's a way to distinguish between good and bad. He says if you see that the counsel that comes to you will add exertion, it's seemingly the right direction, but if it's going to take away from the exertion, it's the wrong direction. That's what he writes. Oh, you see also, according to this sentence, if the deed you have ahead of you requires exertion, apparently it comes from the good side, apparently it's in a good direction, and if it doesn't require exertion, probably it's in the wrong direction, the bad direction. What is what? Does it mean exertion? Person sometimes sweats out, he plans how to break into a bank. It's not simple, truly. You have quite a few people that need to work on it and prepare, and everything the desire obligates. So, the question is, what is exertion? Meaning opposite, what is it? If the exertion is along with the desire, in order to implement it to enjoy, without any connection to the Creator, it's the exertion of the evil inclination. We don't consider it as exertion. Maybe you're sweating your whole life in order to gain something that you have set as a purpose of the purpose of your life. But it's not considered exertion. Exertion in spirituality is what brings you a fusion with the Creator, that it improves you in some way to be similar to Him. This is called exertion. The other things are not exertion. Accordingly, we learn all kinds of interesting things about the rules of Shabbat. Let's say, what is the work? What is called work in Shabbat? There are things in Shabbat that may be you could sweat, but it's not considered that you're violating the Shabbat. You are not violating the Shabbat because they do not belong to the work, opposite the inclination in order to adhere to the Creator. Let's say someone comes in here and says, I need 10 people to work on the roof. I make some judgment. Should I stay here and then maintain working in thoughts, or I know that I'm going to go to the roof, I'm going to exert, and there typically my thoughts disappear. I work with the body. I have to exert even more. So what is exertion? To remain here or to go up to the roof? The question is, if instead of sitting here and study I go to some other work, which is more supported by the body or a bit more desire or intention, or I disappear from a bit more intention or desire intention, how do I check it? I do it if I do it correctly or incorrectly. It's hard to say. This is hard to tell. You can't make the calculations of for every twist and turn how we truly make a decision, and you cannot go to the bottom of your own reason and to what do you do in order to decide if it's worthwhile or not, where to go, what to do. There's honour that you receive from the society. There's necessity that you feel from yourself from Him when He the one who invites you to join the work there for the group. There are 1,001 things here, such relationships and measurements that we cannot see right now. So how nevertheless to make the call in each and every state? I would say this: we always have to decide if it's not necessity relative to the society, because the society that exists has to have very clear things according to duty, according to right. But if it's not things that come according to commandments that are caused by time or dictated by time, then we need to always choose actions where we can hold on more tightly to the intention in order to bestow the intention to be adhered to the emanator. And if we distance ourselves from that, If we lose the connection, then you are doing the action perhaps beneficial action. You're working for the grip for dissemination. Your yearning does not awaken the surrounding light through your exertion. Rather, it shines from the general labor, the general work. What does it mean to be a giver? Meaning to always be the giver. Bestowing. Did I say to be a bestower? You said, how can you tell if you're bestowing or not bestowing? What does it mean to give? To be a giver. To be a giver. To bestow it's something very difficult. First of all, you have to see who do you bestow to, and reveal whether or not he has a will to receive from you what you wish to give to him, and then to see if you truly bestow and he truly receives and enjoys your bestow. Do you bestow because it gives you pleasure because there is pleasure from it, or maybe it gives you pleasure because you feel pleasure? Then it's not considered bestow. Maybe this action an action of bestow, but it's for the sake of self-pleasure. There are many things there to be a bestower. A giver is a stature one has to construct slowly with all of its foundations, all of its components. This state that we need to love the evil inclination. What does it mean to love the evil inclination? And what should we hate to we need to love the evil inclination? As I said, it means that we have to work. We have to love its work to see how much this angel works on us meticulously, loyally, with the goal of awakening us each time in the right direction. Its mode of work is opposite of what we have to do, but what it does, it works on us constantly. It's truly outstanding. If we can only learn from it, meaning we don't need anything, only constantly be aware of how these things come, and they come not through my own substance, but through this foreign force that's in me that constantly awakens me in the opposite direction from the Creator. And if I constantly do the opposite from that toward the Creator, I'm drawn to the Creator precisely. That's what he does, according to the quantity, equality, his nature, according to the order of the actions that it summons in me, thoughts and desires. It truly builds me cell after cell, my spiritual part. Are there cessations between this and that, or is it working constantly without sensations? There are no cessations in evil inclination. This is a spiritual gene that develops in because it is thereafter the shattering of the vessels. It pulls us in all kind of opposite directions from the Creator, and we need only to correct our intention with this gene, and then it will develop correctly. What does it mean to run away from it? Let's say I just sit and I do nothing, because it develops. Either way it develops. It used to be a simple record, and now it begins to swell and to rise like a dough. Right, and we just need to give it shape. And if a person just sits and does nothing, then if a person sits and does nothing, then that evil inclination awakens a person through deficiencies that it awakens him for different actions. And if a person goes together with evil inclination to do all those deeds, he comes to a state where he feels bad. The result from this, the results are bad, and these results are bad, and they increase and connect together to such a degree that a person cannot stand them, cannot tolerate them, and then he disagrees with this development and he inverts. He gets to this internal inversion. He does something with himself, but later he continues again with evil inclination, and again with evil inclination, until we discover today that we are on the verge of a state where if we continue to develop this way with evil inclination, then we either enter despair, enter life, which is worse than death. Despair and drugs filled the world. The person is either in the state despair or is turning to drugs. There's no other choice. And by that we will finally discover that we must through hate to the state that we've reached. We must change our entire attitude to life, to reality, to ourselves. And then this inner inversion revolution even comes in how we look at our entire calculation, our nature, how we develop. Then we discovered that from the beginning of creation, or more precisely, from the destruction of the first temple and then the second temple, we've been developing incorrectly, in the wrong manner, where there's corruption there, but this corruption was revealed only now. In short, we have to follow not the advice of the inclination, rather, according to its counsel, but in the opposite way, to receive, to acquire the form but from it, but in the opposite direction, not in the direction of the will to receive, but in the direction of the emanator. The evil inclination is giving you an advice how to enjoy into the will to receive, and you will invert it in the same way. In order to give pleasure to the Creator, He's giving you ready-made templates what to do and how to do it. Before the barrier, before I receive something which is of a different nature. Can I do it? Can I immediately invert it into the good inclination? Before the barrier, we must decide that we wish to be in adhesion only with the Creator, to reach state called lasik, to take a form from it. Let's say it now. Pulls me in some towards some place, and unlike the messenger with this donkey, what does it mean to take that form? Does it mean to make a calculation, or if I feel a certain attraction in a certain direction? My problem is how not to separate myself, to lose the awareness that a special force is working on me, messenger that truly wants to aim me towards the Creator. Am I maintaining sufficient connection with the Creator or with the society, for example? That can help me. They help me to not disconnect from the right direction. So, that's it. The rest is a scrutiny inside of a person. The main thing is not to let oneself, if possible, disconnect from the connection with the Creator, no matter the state. By that you're already working with evil inclination in the right direction. It's pulling you in all directions, and on top of that you maintain connection with the Creator. Connection means calculation. Even the connection is even when you can't make a calculation. It's enough to remain in the connection for the time being. That's enough. So an artificial thought, because I don't have a feeling, artificial thought. That's okay. The society has to provide me enough importance all the time to be in contact with the Creator, that this importance, the fear of disconnecting from it, will give me the power, in spite of the disturbances, to remain in the connection and the thought and adhesion with their end besides. This is not simple. It takes years until a person gets through them. We need something beyond this artificial thought. Otherwise, it's like people on the outside. They're also all connected to the Creator. How can we be different? We're saying that with this, our work is not that different from those outside of us. They don't have any disturbances. They don't have any obstructions. They don't feel they need that. This is their work, that in spite of all the disturbances, I need only one thing to maintain connection with Him. I still don't know how I can turn those deeds that the evil inclination is awakening in me, so I will do them in order to bestow. I cannot imagine what form this can take. It's simply something different, opposite, but for the time being, for me, it's only to remain in adhesion. Ken, what should we do towards the society to constantly be alert about this war? Not to surrender. Not to surrender the war, meaning not to forget, and that's the kind of importance that only society can give a person himself, to come to such a level of importance. It takes a great deal of suffering for him, but has to be ingrained in his flesh. It takes many years, and the society can raise the importance to such a level that he will constantly be aware of that. Be afraid as rights, that a disconnection for one moment will be there from the Creator, will be the greatest punishment in the world. So what should we do towards the society so it will work on you to always be afraid all the time in a war on the greatness of importance? What are you asking? How will I constantly remain willing to maintain connection with the Creator? If it's important to me, I will maintain it. I don't get you. How do you break it down into small things? Into the society has to constantly give me this, me and the society. No, the society, I mean what depends on me in relation to the society, so it will work on me in this way. I mean the society. It's not something external, it's something that I have to establish a certain relation to it, so that this relation will never break, and then the whole mechanism will work. How can I establish such a relation that it will never break between me and the society? I don't understand your question. How will I build in the society such powerful advertising that the greatness of the Creator, greatness of the goal is more important than everything? Let's put it this way. The result should be that I will always be alert in relation to the Creator. Right then, not alert, let's say alert relative to the Creator. That's the desirable result. that has to be there. No relative to the Creator, meaning not to disconnect from Him as much as possible, to look to be in the point of connection, and the means for that is how you relate to the society. The means for this is the importance of that state to be connected to the Creator. Where do I take this importance? Try 1,001 things. Maybe you'll find it. I don't know where. You have to read books, and that you have to listen to music, perhaps, and lectures and talks. They say society influences a person more than anything, meaning even books is called the society. Everything that impresses me on the outside, not from within me but from outside of me, is considered a society. Most influential on a person is the opinion of the public around them, and society has to be created enough and important enough and strong enough to give me this awareness. Now again, when we say the society, seemingly it's something outside of me, so I depend on something which is outside of me. How can I make it so? It will depend on me, on how much I determine it, not something which is outside of me. Where do I make any decisions here? By choosing the society and convincing myself that this society is great and good and important, and there's none like it anywhere else, and what influences me becomes important for me necessarily. Great meaning I have to surrender myself before the society. Society should advertise the right thing to me, and if I disconnected my connection for a minute, then that's it. I'm disconnected. You're a beast, cuz your only choice is in the society. You said once that it doesn't matter from which society you come, you can always be impressed from it. If it is in general in the right direction, then you can be impressed by it. And now I said that you can be impressed even by a small society, because it depends more on how much you surrender before that society. It's more important. It can be a society of novices who know nothing, but they have this impression, right? We want something, so you're impressed by the impression that they have. How does a mother get impressed by a baby? What does a baby have? What kind of desire? What? By love. The importance. That it's important for her more than her life. That's how nature made it. And we done some tiny peep, and that's it. If that whole this is the whole world. She wants nothing besides it, only to hear that, and to fulfill this tiny peep that he wants. Right, so what is it? The size of the baby that determines it. No. Importance, love, appreciation. And if they don't have it, if you don't have it, then there's nothing to do. Then there's no society. It means that you are in your own hands. What do you mean in your own hands? Nature's. How do I make it be in me all the time? How to make it so we'll have a society, and it will constantly bestow good to us and raise the importance of this topic. Maybe we need to take some advertising people and for them to advertise it to us. I don't know how. If our society doesn't do it, I don't know what to do artificially. You have to start working in it. It seems like we do it. We do it all the time. It seems like there's no one who's not doing it here in the society. Maybe I don't see it enough. You need to see it and to hear it more. Again, I'll see if it's important to me. But it's a cycle. How do I keep it the most important thing all the time? That's also the society. There's no other choice. If you wish to advance in a controlled manner, it's only through someone external that directs you properly. Oh, a question like that from Israel. In order to do the opposite from the advice of the will to receive, there has to be the importance of the exertion. Is that so? No. The importance of the exertion. There's only a way to test it. But the importance to do the opposite of the advice of the will to receive has to be a certain awareness. The will to receive, meaning the intention that we have, the attraction that we get. These impulses that we get are always in order to disconnect us from the Creator, and we have to resist it. And this type of behavior, the direction of this behavior, is what determines the form of our exertion. What does it mean? The garment of wise disciple. It means that his intention is in order to be so. This is mean the talis of a wise disciple, that this is what he studies for. That's how he decorates himself. That's how he wants it to dress into, because a wise disciple means one who studies from the wise, from the Creator, his thoughts, his actions. What else? It's not clear to a person that if a person falls asleep or is tired and still studies the Torah, is that bad? Well, that's not the question really. This is from some AI from Israel, so I would say this. It's not that it's bad or good. Of course, it's better to sit in a state where he barely hears and falls asleep from tiredness and still is present in the lesson than being in bed at a time where he determined that he should be in the lesson, but try to be in a way that this isn't the case all the time. Of course, many times we fall asleep in a lesson or we can't perceive the material we're well, but the question is whether our labor, our effort is there, and do we want to nevertheless belong to the attainment of godliness with our labor. If a person comes and fall asleep from beginning to end, there's still benefit in that. But of course, it doesn't mean that he has labored. He only labored in coming to the synagogue. So or the seminary. Yes. Monty is not clear. How does the society operate regarding advertising so intensely and the results are still so dissatisfactory? It's not clear at this point. How does our society, which works so powerfully on advertising and studying and really, there's nothing that is similar to this in the world, both in magnitude and in the power of dissemination. How does it not reach yet the level that it deserves, as if according to the effort? I would see this totally differently. We exist in a system called the soul of Adam. We are a part of this soul from all the countries connected together to a single goal, which is to carry along with us many people, if not everyone. And so we shouldn't only look at ourselves. If what is up to me now is to carry a few more millions until I'll have no power to carry them forward, I'm connected to them and I can't move 1 millimeter forward. So don't measure your progress in millimeters, because that millimeter will come until you'll have the power to drag the last one of those millions, and then I'll advance. So check my progress in how much I accumulate the forces to carry more and more. And so even though I haven't made 1 millimeter forward even, but I keep accumulating forces, these millions of people are beginning to awaken and begin to be ready to move. So you're checking with the wrong scales. You're saying I didn't move. Look at how much I invested. And it's true that I didn't move and I invested, but it's in me. I acquired these forces. They're already in me. There are many souls ready to join, and they join. So it's all about the result. You don't want to look at it. So you're looking at movement, and there's no movement yet. Correct. I wouldn't say there is. There is, but it's very tiny. Certainly not based on what we deserve if we were on our own, alone. But what can you do? What can you do? I don't even make that calculation. If I were alone, how would I advance? Because it doesn't depend on me. It's not my role to escape to some forest and just make unifications with the Creator, and that's it. If a person doesn't determine in at what time period of time he exists, and what state he exists in, and what he's supposed to do, we see that this is what happens. This we can see day by day. Dozens, if not hundreds of people around the world are joining us, and the world is gradually moving towards this direction, aligning with it. Soon you will see it in a way that people will suddenly take on a new view and a new attitude towards life. Everything becomes clear. You'll see in a few years that everyone suddenly understands your mind, even though you haven't done anything about it. And it's not that you invest today and it reaches them somehow, some way, but it does. Yesterday from Moscow asked him, we spoke to men from America, he called me, and he already sees people there from the greatest people who are already interested in that, wanting that he's preparing a tour for me there. And in England, we should stop there too. There's a big society there that's interested. In any case, you see that this is a result in the world, a result of our effort, of our investment. So I'm not checking according to something small. You can't measure that. You can't check that. On the other hand, we need to be alert, awake, and we mustn't despair from stepping in place, so to speak. So you produce a few more books or movies or whatever you do, lessons or courses, and it works. Now we are facing the most difficult thing which is dissemination in Israel. That's very difficult. In here, it'll be a bit more tangible in terms of what you'll see if you succeed or not, and how. And measuring the spiritual height that we deserve. We can't do that. Because in truth, until we drag with us a certain amount of the world, the global public, some critical mass, we won't be able to ascend. Because today, we are facing the correction of the world. It's not some group or a few people who should achieve something better through the method of Kabbalah. There's nothing to improve here. We're done with that. We've received the final method. There's no more. We can simplify it a bit for beginners, but it's not like we're changing the method itself. We explain it in colloquial words. What's written, what's already there. So the calculation is not with individuals with us, with just a group that we need to build something for the next generations. That there's no more next generations. This is the generation. So accordingly, it's a very practical attitude. What needs to happen now in spirituality until you gather all of the support and preparations and elements. It doesn't happen until the very last moment. Our adhesion and unity and the necessity that we constantly adhere to the Creator. Will that cause dissemination? Will that cause a result? Or there are others? Will our adhesion with the Creator cause dissemination? When you go out to disseminate something on the street, what do you disseminate? What? Just papers, something printed on. Then, what are you spreading? You're spreading what's in your heart. What you grow and praise and nurture within the society. Ultimately, that's what you disseminate. So certainly if we determine there's none else besides Him, adhesion with the Creator, the direction towards Him, the connection to Him, everything that happens to us and that we go through, that's what's important, and detachment from Him is the greatest punishment. So then whatever you do on the street, even if it's written in a completely different way and in some sugar-coated, like for appropriate for people on the street, you're actually spreading what's in your heart. For the purpose of correction, should we look at from which side a cremation comes or not? For the purpose of correction, should we examine how and where the evil inclination comes from? No, it can come like I said, that my mother tells me why this and that, and it's not a matter of how it dresses into external matters, whether it's through the wife or the kids or the friends, or it could be in all kinds of way. This the external clothing that it comes from doesn't matter. It's also not the fault of the person through which it comes from and how it happens. That's really it's not a correct attitude. That I will hate. No, not because he's sending someone to kill us. No, why not? This is the same thing that my evil inclination appears through someone. So what? It's all messengers. There's nothing good or bad in them. Only in that way I reveal the appearance of the Creator towards me, who awakens me in such a way. If I say none else besides Him, then what do I have to look at? What am I looking at here? I'm not looking at Him, the one who brings it, but that He brings it, or for example, from the side of pride. Who is He? Who is He that gives me this impression, good or bad? How can I talk about someone? The Creator awakens that. How else what? Some person next to me knows how I'm supposed to grow and by what actions, this way or that way, and He plans it according to His soul and my soul, and He knows exactly my next spiritual state. And He sends me this or that disturbance. You want to put all of that on some person who's next to me. Then how? Oh, for example, these things are so intricate coming from the collective soul. Each one. Through Him I feel reality. So through Him I feel like all kinds of disturbances arrive to me. But it only arrives through Him because I don't have other senses. If I had deeper senses, I wouldn't see characters. I would see forces. Am I realizing them? Yes or no? In what way? I'll have contact with the forces, the thoughts. This is the thought of the Creator that encompasses the world and works. And this is me. Can I join it independently? Or I can't? And where can't I do it? And where I cannot do it, is that my force or not? Or He plays me with me in such a way to show me the opposite form that I'm in, awakens in me such a feeling that it's Him and against Him. Light and clee doesn't just mean a plain will to receive, rather the intention, the difference between me and Him. Okay, Every day we're talking for an hour and a half. Let's share impressions from the lesson and what we take from it for implementation in the 10. We heard in the lesson how important it is to understand that we always need to take the forces from society and basically understand what is the true labour that really directs you to the Creator and to reach adhesion with the Creator. As it's written, I am lovesick. Yeah, we heard how important it is the reason, the greatness of the Creator, the importance of the Creator, the quality of bestow. How the only thing that we can choose is our environment. So the 10 should advertise the greatness of the quality of bestow and love more and more. I heard that any impression it from outside or from inside, it's all. We also heard how the way the evil inclination comes and gives a person all kinds of thoughts or patterns that he should satisfy the will to receive in, and we can use those discernments and turn them, and in this way answer the Creator, meaning it becomes like a compass that constantly leads us on the right way. From the article that we read from, it says to learn from the Creator to bestow, so not from my ego inclination, but to learn from the Creator to bestow, and also in the lesson to not allow myself to detach from the connection to the Creator and the friends the 10 they need to provide me with the importance of that connection, not disconnect from the connection with the Creator. And that a society has a decisive role here, also maintaining the importance and with fear of being disconnected from this connection. We also heard about discernments regarding what it means to be a giver. There are many elements here that a person has to choose all the time. Whom he delights, is he willing to receive the soul under what conditions? There was also a discernment about how do I read the Creator correctly? What's the right attitude? I need to see that he's pulling me to all kinds of things, only bad things, for me to overcome them, a matter of overcoming. And how can I prefer to adhere to the Creator? And from that I find his help in the right way. I heard we don't know what is the Creator, what is this direction, but because of it we also don't have a good inclination. We only have the evil inclination and all kinds of intentions to receive, awaken all the time. And if a person is aware of this work for the society through the importance he gets from the society, he has to constantly turn it into using it the right way. The evil inclination always pulls him, and he has to turn it to bestow, to take it in the right direction, and by this he discovers what is the Creator. The practical advice we heard from that repeated is how to differentiate between the advice of the good inclination and the bad inclination. If the advice tells you how you can work less, then it's coming from the evil inclination, and it demands you to, if it demands you to increase your labour, then it's an advice from the good inclination. The evil inclination comes to you and behaves like a wise disciple and tells you, listen, you have to reach a Creator. It's worth your while, but it doesn't do it because it wants you to achieve adhesion with the Creator, wants you to distract you from the path of adhesion. So the article ends saying that it turns out that from a person who's not decent, you must not hear even decent words. We also heard about the right labour, the right measurement that we don't want to see, the results that seem very small to us, but that we add strength and labour. Starting from today, we are going back to studying from the test lessons with Rabash. We will read from the Study of the Tens, Volume 2, Part 5. We are in the Inner Light, item 35, starting from the paragraph not matter in ket, starting from the words you already know, that these vessels of the second expansion. So we'll read from Tests Volume 2, Part 5. This is from item 35. The reality of Mati and not Mati should be thoroughly clarified. It is said that in the beginning the light comes in ket, and all 9 lights are contained in it. Afterwards, it returns to being not Mati when the light that reaches Keter exits it once more. But the 9 other lights remain in Keter, since Ketu has the power to tolerate. Then, in that state, when the light is not Mati, expanding in the Keter extends the 9 lights to face, and places them in HMMA. At that time, HMA turns her interior after receiving the 9 lights, and shines to Beaner face to face. It is only the illumination, but she still does not give her the 7 lights. When we say the vessel of Keter, we are already confused. Why? He learns there or teaches there that in the beginning the vessel of Mal comes out. What is the vessel of mood? There was 4 there. The light of in the vessel of still had. No, there was no light. From what phase afterwards when rose to the level of illuminated? Then there was a lot of in the vessel of Keter. You find that still not called the vessel. Keter is not called the vessel yet. It's got coarseness, but it has no coarseness, but it has light. You find that in the end when I say the vessel of Ketet, means it was refined into the root, coarseness, which light came into the vessel of Keter, the light of Mal. Afterwards when he says to the vessel of Keter to also be refined, there is no light in the vessel of Keter. Then the vessel of Keter is called empty vessel. Now, which vessel of Keter am I speaking of? Keter means it had a vessel of tamim, taste. It remained this way except what? Its still lower degree. So that confuses us. We learn that took the empty vessels of Galarter. Therefore, when I say expanding in, which vessel am I speaking of? And here he's not speaking of. Where's the he's not speaking about it at all when I say expanding and not expanding the departure of the light, only in the goof. You find that he doesn't speak of there at all here. What does he speak of? There. Coupling that was in the Galar and had to expand to the goof of Galar, which we call the goof of Galar after Ab, which took these vessels. Why am I being confused here? And we're speaking about the vessels of the goof of when the light departed. Now, when he tells us he has vessels of that remain for us in, that the light departed from them, and he says, when does a vessel become a vessel? A vessel is recognized precisely after the departure of their light from it. Now he begins to speak when came out the first time on for of coarseness there was a level of ket. There, in the light shone in the vessel. There was no a mixture there. On the contrary, the light and the vessel were mixed. It was not called a vessel. What happened afterwards? The clash of inner and surrounding. So, the level of ket was refined from phrase 4 to 3. Now, about the taste we count T, and I say that mood was emptied. The question is, was only Mal emptied, or in all the level in all of Ket in all? Tro did the light depart, will learn that the light departed in all tens. So there is asking why am I saying only Malat was emptied since. Afterwards, there was a coupling on phase 3 called Malat she went up to Zanin. So from Keter to Zanin, it was filled with smaller light, but there was light. This is still not discerned, he says, as are an empty vessel. And then when phase 3 was refined as well, and it shone and the level of being shown, and 2 says it's got no light now, so he also considers it a vessel, and I consider the as well which had light before. Now it's regarded that they have light as well, although a smaller light they only have beaner. Then she was refined when Mut rose to so that level went out as well, and the empty vessel was filled as well with what they had light of. Then phase 1 was refined as well. The level the coarseness of Ket shown which only has a lot of Malhud. So there was a lot of Malat in the vessel of Keter. Then Malhud was refined as well. So now in the vessel of Ket there's no light at all. Now we learned that was refined and has no light of the light of Malat, root coarseness. Then we learn that light came to the vessel of Keter. So I consider that vessel by the name T, and it's got 43. And I don't think about Malat, only about Keter. From where is Keto built? That's a little strange. So I say did Keter had tastes were in the first degree in the first state, but in the end it came to the light of Nephish to the root coarseness, not to Mal, and I'm thinking about that's the highest phase he had. What did Keter have from the upper phase? It had 4. We learned in part 4 that first, before it was refined, there was the flash of inner and surrounding in car, and there was a refinement of the screen, until the screen went up to the rush. And what are you asking in the rush? Its records rise, and since the last phase is lost, the surrounding light weakened its screen. That's why in the of Golgarter, there's no 43. Who raised it to the horse of Galarter? We learned the screen of taboo. The screen of the taboo went up to the horse of Galar with all its records. We learned something new there, that the screen of taboo was incorporated with the coarseness of Malat of the it's called upward, where he itself itself can draw light and make a coupling by striking in Mahat means, is called the copulating mul making, coupling by striking. Afterwards, we learn that the horse of Galarter made a coupling on, for 3, so the coarseness of the screen of taboo, that he can already receive, which is the goof not descended to its place, but it did not descend to the place of 2, instead of phase 4. It was not made on phase 4, but only in phase 3, so it's deficient. Okay, we learned that this light filled the empty vessels of Galar. Afterwards we learned that this is called the inner ab. What is inner? That ab 34 is inside the vessels of Galarter. Then we learned that the screen of tabel that went up, which is incorporated in of the returned to being below after the coupling by striking that was on 43 in the Gala and descended to the phase of awakens, the coarseness of below upwards by itself, and drew the light like of the called the copulating mal, where from the to the light of the of came out, and from the downward the goof came out. We learned here. I asked about this before. What's missing for us is that he does not speak of the of, and we must learn that first the of came out, and then the goof of the taste of, and then it time the taste of had to be refined, and then do the dots of, as we always learn. Here it says, empty vessels that remained, means from, remain from below down from the p, downward. So which vessels is he speaking of that the vessels would move to AB? When am I speaking of them? Either I speak of them before they went, before AB went out at all, and here it says as soon as the vessels move even, before up comes up. Look at page 319 from, and you find I'm beginning with not expanding in keto. You have it. You already know that those vessels of the second expansion are those empty vessels that remained after the first expansion after Galar. It was also explained above in the Rs order of the making of those vessels, where in the beginning Mahad was made. Why? Because she was emptied of her light. She was the first to be emptied of her light. Then when the vessel of Sanin was emptied of its light, the vessel of Sanin was made. Then when the vessel of Biner was emptied, the vessel of Biner was made, etc. The reason for it is that the vessels were made. Here, we should speak of the recognition of the vessels from the coarse light that remained below and did not rise and depart with their direct light with the abundance, as he writes above. Hence each and every vessel was made with a departure of the light from within it, because then the coarse light remained below and the vessel was made. We learned it already. Ye therefore find that the vessels were organized from the time of their making one above the other, first mal, above it, until the vessel of Ketra above them all. By this you know, and here too in the second expansion in Awe, even before the lights were expanded, the vessels are already arranged and stand from above downward at the top of them, and finally mal as it went out in the first expansion, the vessels one after the other. What is written here is as they went out. In the first expansion the vessels one after the other, as they went out one after the other, meaning after the departure. We'll see, therefore, when the lights expanded and went out from the coupling on the level of all those tents were on an equal level, near Keter, they found for them ready and standing the vessel of Keter that's suitable for them only from the vessels of the Gagar. And where was the coupling in the Galar? Fern, the of Abai does not speak here at all. You find that all the refinements from everything we learn from the 3 of how it was what we learned. That's the question that it has. Then, when there was a coupling in the rows of Galarter, in the hay, and fill the vessels, in the internality of the goof of Galarter, and then we learned the horse of Abs, in the goof of or in trouble of the goof of there was the clash of inner and surrounding, and then there was the order of refinement of Ammon and Nekidot and Dots, respectively. And here he speaks of empty vessels that passed. He does not speak of the Ebola. Also, he only speaks of the vessels of Galar that moved to. So what are we missing? They should have said here that the goof of Galar moved to the goof of. This is difficult for us. Why is it difficult? We learned that that's the order of clothing or the clothes of the to the pay. We learned, and the goof clothes from the to the tambu of. So we're missing this order which he tells us And when we learn about the clash of inner and surrounding that was already in AB, not in Gala, there, inside he does not speak where he does not speak. I want to speak about it a little bit. I don't want to speak about it. I like to speak about what he does speak. What else did we learn? That in his there was a clash of inner and surrounding. We learned, and there, the level of comes out the level of, and here it's missing. He does not interpret. We learn the clash of inner and surrounding. The surrounding light comes and says receive more, but while this did not receive, what are you going to receive more? That was still in the internality of barter, and it's still not revealed. This is why we need to reveal the 43 in the ab, and then 43 in the goof of ab is revealed. Until here more than that I don't want to receive. So who did he stand in 43? In the ab, so he says receive more. So he hasn't completed receiving 43. What does it mean receive more? I haven't received this yet. We'll move to the next part of the lesson. Studying among friends. Dear friends, we are now moving to studying among friends led by Turkey 1. Go ahead. Dear friends, dear world, as the Turkey 110, we have been rewarded with presenting the final part of this lesson, the section on studying with friends. Thanks to our Creator. While making this preparation, we experienced the entire process of Pesach within us every day. During the preparation for the morning lesson, we formed a collective intention by reading the sources, and we connected with the worldly held workshops and prepared for the lesson by connect with friends both in Turkey and around the world, offering silent prayers in every morning lesson by reading the writings of the great Kabbalists. We pass through the degrees to which they wish to elevate us. In the recorded lessons with our great Ro, we progressed by connecting to him and the great Kolist, following the path he showed us as he held our hands. We came to believe that all the states we passed through in the darkness, the clipper of Egypt, were simply the Creator's helped to advance us. We realized that no matter what comes our way, we must move forward through the connection between us. That light can only emerge from darkness, and there is no light without a Creator can deliver us from this exile. Therefore, we demanded and played for him to take us out of our current state, to hold our hands, let us out and bring us closer to him. We long to become like him, to bestow with love, now by clinging to the great Kabbalists and the sources connected to them through our love. We wish to work together so that he may string us in this upcoming lesson. We desire to give him contentment, and so we begin. Yes, dear friends, now we will read an article from Rabash. And this is a letter from Rabash. Rabash says us, there is no redemption without exile. We can't start freedom without exile. Now let's check ourselves when we read this article. Are we feel this or not? Rubbish to know 66. It's impossible to come out of the exile in the Egypt before entering the exile. Only then can it be said that we are coming out of the exile. The other of the Haggadah tells us about this, that we need to know that in the beginning our fathers were idol worshippers, meaning that they were in exile under the rule of idol worshippers, and only then the Creator broke our fathers closer. But if they didn't feel that they were placed under the rule of idol worshippers, it couldn't be said that the Creator had brought them closer. Only when a person is removed from the Creator can it be said that the Creator is bringing him closer, because the absence should always come before the presence, for the absence is the clear vessel, and the presence is the light that fills the absence and the darkness. Again, it is impossible to come out of the exile in the Egypt before entering the exile. Only then can it be said that we are coming out of the exile. The other of the Haggadah tells us about this, that we need to know that in the beginning our fathers were idol worshippers, meaning that they were in exile under the rule of idol worshippers, and only then the Creator brought our fathers closer. But if they didn't feel that they were placed under the rule of idol worshippers, it couldn't be said that the Creator had brought them closer. Only when a person is removed from the Creator can it be said that the Creator is bringing him closer, because the absence should always come before the presence, for the absence is the clear vessel, and the presence is the light that feels the absence and the darkness. Yes, dear friends, dear Vic, as my friend said, Barsh lead us with his right things. And the focus point is that we should feel in exile, and what is our need to come out Egypt, and we need a common vessel for exit all of friends together in a one. This is a need for us, and what should lead to it as morning lesson in every morning lessons, being together, and articles, and of course great. And now, let's turn to Array, and we will watch a clip from Array. Let's watch Array of he eliminates us. I would say this is a very serious stage in a person's spiritual development when he begins to feel that he is in exile, that there is a higher force that controls him, limits him, turns to him through all kinds of limitations, special ways, and the Creator's relation to him a person calls its exile. It's not like there is no Creator in his world. There is, and he arranges for him a situation called exile, and that situation is the vessel of the building of the vessel, the deficiency for redemption, for the revelation of the Creator. And a person must relate to that state seriously, because there is no redemption without exile. When a person feels it, and experienced it before and went out of it successfully. Therefore the difference between exile and redemption is in the letter Alpha, the aloof champion of the world. That's the symbol of the Creator. So what we are lacking in the exile is only the revelation of the Creator. But all the vessels, the discernments, desires, disappointments, thoughts, everything we go through during the exile, we reveal it within us. We feel where we are, and all those things we only need to add the revelation of the Creator to them, and by this we will have the spiritual world redemption. Therefore, we need to take the exile seriously, because during the exile, we acquire vessels, and then when we complete the time of exile, then those vessels are ready for their upper light, the Creator to be revealed in them, and then we really are in redemption. It's a very serious state, advanced, and we should pay attention to it, because everything we'll go through later, during the stages of our development, following the exit, the emergence from our ego and arising above the ego up to the level of the end of correction. So the more we feel all kinds of discernments in the exile, we will then be able to scrutinize them, feel them, taste them in redemption, because nothing can be revealed outside of the exile. Only all the manners of the revelation of the Creator will be only on those vessels, forces, thoughts that we will first discover in exile, and then we will reach them in the redemption. And the difference between the exile and the redemption will give us the power of the vessel, the power of the revelation. And as a result, it will give us joy, and the sensation of redemption really is very great. He let us before exile, before redemption. We will check our desires, and we should come a point which desire we have. We can see the only thing we need actually is in a common vessel. All of us is in everywhere, and commonly all of us. And now, at the workshop question, between us, in the work in the 10, when do we feel we are in exile? In the work in the 10, when do we feel we are in exile? When there is no joy, and we did everything, and we participate everywhere. We meet, and everything, but if there's no joy, then we're not aiming for the King. If you aim for the King, you are always in joy. We feel that we are in exile, not in redemption. So we work a lot. We make efforts, and feel that we are still not one man with one heart. We still don't see the Creator between us, feel the Creator between us. But it's also good. As Nessie said, we need gladness, because we know that afterwards we will have redemption, that we are acquiring the Creator between us alone. Yes, the more the stronger we work in the 10, we feel that more and more that we are in exile. Yeah, the sensation of the exile is great help, that we have these discernments through the effort to keep in contact and maintain the quality of the connection between us, and the gap between the desirable state and the state we learn about together, and the state that the Creator arranges for us is actually the place that brings us to the prayer and the scrutiny of the prayer. As Rob said in the clip, we saw that there's no exile without redemption. We yearn from state to redemption, to the revelation of love between us, which is called the revelation of the Creator between us. So exile is the deficiency for that. How much we feel, the deficiency, the lack to that extent. We're in exile and go through states in order to reveal it that will come out to redemption, to love between us. If we work in the 10 not to the importance of the goal without connecting ourselves more and more to the Creator, or some excitement or habit, then we don't feel the exile. Exile is felt in the relation to the friends that we try to get closer to them, and we can't, and then we need the Creator's help. That's already redemption, that the Creator made a place for us to ask for help in getting closer to the friends comes together. It's not like that we feel the gap between the desirable and the existing state, and we can't reach from one to the other. For now, we take it to the work. We feel that it's a condition that came to us from above, that we have to go through. Happy mess. Yes, dear friends, every one of us, when we feel the long in our hearts, I think that in the safety place of there is a confidence, and I feel in my heart deeply in this confidence, and this confidence lets me get to the confidence. See Bash. Article 6. Confidence. To reach the desirable good and broadland, we must first go through a stage of making the Kim, meaning to be in the land of Egypt, and see that we are slaves serving Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and the atonements of exile bring us a need to pray to the Creator to deliver us from exile, as was said. And the children of Israel sight from the work, and they cried out, and their cry went up to the gods. It follows that exile is a clear, and redemption is the light and the abundance. Friend, for us, reads the second excerpt from Rubbish. Actually, it's following to the first article. We hope that we want to a different land, meaning just Creators will, and in our hearts we try to be in there. It's like our reality to be in that, as we heard about that in our clip. What we will need, and we taught between us, we need a confidence and faith, and we should build the faith, and just when we build it, we can do with faith in our clip. Now, our dear friends, let's turn to Ra, and Ra let us, and how can we get the light from Ra? And now let's learn together from our what should be this good morning. How should we recognize the power of faith in the 10? How is it revealed? And how should we maintain the focus to the extent that we want to be connected to one another in the 10? And when we're connected to one another, we want to grasp the Creator with all our hands. Let's say we have 10 friends, and we are grasping the Creator with 10 hands and holding on to Him and not letting Him escape from us. And it doesn't matter what's happening, ascent, descent, being thrown around from left to right, back and forth, and so on. It doesn't matter. The main thing is that we hold on between us and the Creator. And where are we? 100 meters above the ground, or we're falling, or we're going to crash into a wall or something. Doesn't matter. What's important for us is to hold on between us. We have no other way to hold on to something and to strengthen ourselves. So we have to imagine that state, that only when we strengthen between us, that gives us an anchor, and then we're saved. Said that just we can go salvation if we are in faith. Only just 10 hands from friends, we help the Creator. The actual thing is holding each other and built a faith and confidence to Creator, and never give up. We shouldn't never give up, and when we fight, we should keep on in confidence and joy. And now the second of the workshop. How will we success in feeling the force of faith in the 10? How will we succeed in feeling the force of faith in the 10? We just received a beautiful description from Allah. We all grab the Creator with both hands, and then it doesn't matter where He throws us, up, down, into the wall. We simply hang on to Him, and then we feel that it's not us hanging on to Him, but He's holding us. Yes, He's holding us. And when we feel that we're all equal, then in the connection between us, there's a force that connects. It's a force that is the power of faith, that He's good, that does good, and He wants us to advance in being like Him, that our relationship will be adhered to Him. Yet, we're holding, even with 20 hands holding the Creator. We have to build the Creator between us, to increase the love between us, the greatness of the friends, to talk about the greatness of the friends, and we don't feel him. We don't feel that there is a creator between us. So, we should make efforts to speak, to have workshops, to make efforts, and in this way we help each other, attend, and always increase, exalt the quality of love, and bestow between us. Yes, and every moment to tie all the friends to the Creator, even now when every friend speaks, to really pray that He'll connect all of us together, and the whole world clee, and the whole world, and always, me the 10 and the Creator. Yeah, when we all increase the level of responsibility between us, and that each friend feels that only his participation and his willingness is what the 10 needs in order to rise together, and each 10 feels that it's already doing it. The connection between the friends, the desire to come closer, for overcoming the separation between us, and going above that, above the ego, nullifying each and everyone, nullifies his ego, and takes only the force of connection, and goes, according to what Rabash writes to us, actions of connection between us. Then we'll feel the power of faith. Through the force of connection, we may aim to be adhere to the Creator, then we can heal. Now each friend, according to his special qualities, strengthens the vessel of our general vessel of faith. Chai, the power of faith grows in us by the overcoming together. Friends, the lesson we went through, thanks to this we are in a point that, when we coalesced, tells us and only thing we need holding, the greatest living Kabbalist our love, and for forward, with his lights. If we can do his will, we can do it only. Rouse words, mercy towards the Creator, meaning we want to bestow to the Creator and give him a feeling that he for us is the most respected force in the reality, and actually the only reality in which we work and should be connected to, etc. This is what we have to give back to the Creator. The Creator operates towards our will to receive, and in the will to receive, we only feel pleasures. We have to rise from the level of the pleasures that we fill up to who is bringing us the pleasures. What does he bring the pleasures for? What do we feel in the pleasures themselves? And how, according to what we can depict who who is sending us the pleasures, and how do we want to transform what we are getting the pleasures to his appreciation? This is what we give back to him. You cannot give the host anything besides appreciation. If you are righteous, what can you give him? Meaning that he doesn't need anything. He doesn't have a lack. Only give him your appreciation. Appreciate whom he is. The giver, the lover, the bestower, the one who cares. And this is what we want to give back to the host. Dear friends, we're going to learn a lesson from Ra, from June 11, 2003, based on the article "One should is forbidden to hear a good thing from a bad person." We read it in the 10. We have 26 minutes. Who conclude to finish ahead of time or invited to start a workshop on the main topics from the article. It is forbidden to hear a good thing from a bad person. It is written, and Abraham said to Lot, "Please let there be no strife between you and me, or between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brothers. Is not the whole land before you? Please part from me. If to the left, then I will go to the right. If to the right, I will go to the left." We should understand what he says, for we are brothers. Since they were not brothers, the Tsar interprets this as follows: for we are brothers, meaning the evil inclination and the good inclination are close to one another. One stands to the right of a person, and the other to his left. That is, the evil inclination stands to his left, and the good inclination to his right. Accordingly, for we are brothers means that we are speaking of one body, and the quarrel is between the good inclination and the evil inclination, which are called brothers. And this is perplexing. The good inclination tells the evil inclination, if to the left, meaning you're telling me to take the path of the left, which is the path of the evil inclination, for it is always on the left, as it is written in the Zohar that the evil inclination is to his left. The good inclination tells him, "I will not go by your way. Rather, I will go by the way of the right, the way of the good inclination, which is always on the right." We can understand this, but when it says if to the right, meaning that if the evil inclination goes to the right, which is the path of the good inclination, why does the good inclination tell it, "Then I will go to the left," meaning that the good inclination will go by the way of the left, which is the path of the evil inclination. This is difficult to understand. Bassam asked, why is it that when Jacob had an argument with Laban, it is written, and Laban replied and said to Jacob, the daughters are my daughters, and the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks, and all that you see is mine. That is, wicked Laban argued that everything is his, meaning that Jacob had no possessions and everything belonged to wicked Laban. But why is it written when Jacob gave the presents to and said, I have a lot, my brothers, let what is yours be yours, and he did not want to receive from him everything he wanted to give him. But Laban claims the opposite, that everything is his. He said that here there is an order of work, how to behave in the work with evil inclination when it comes to a person, with its just arguments in order to obstruct a person from achieving adhesion with the Creator. Laban said, means that it comes with the argument of a righteous. It tells him, when a person wants to pray and wishes to prolong his prayer a little, or another example, when he wants to go study at the seminary, a person had in mind to be as strong as a lion and overcome his laziness. The evil one comes and argues, it is true that you want to overcome to do the will of your Father in heaven. As it is written, Ubentema says, be you as fierce as a leopard, light as an eagle, running like a gazelle, and strong as a lion to do the will of your Father in heaven. However, I know that you have no desire to do the will of your Father in heaven. I know the truth, that you are working only for self-love, and you have no love for the Creator, so that you can say that the fact that you are going to do something now is for the Creator. Rather, you are working only for me, for the SRE, the other side, and not for Kadasher Sanctity. Thus, what is this overcoming? That is, if you are working for me, then I advise you to sit calmly and enjoy, since everything you want to do is for me. Therefore, I have pity on you, so you will not make great efforts and enjoy the rest. This is what Laban said, that is he dressed in a white calotte. The prayer meaning, he said, the daughters are my daughters, and all that you see is mine. Jacob conjured him, it is not so. I am working for the Creator. Therefore, it is worthwhile for me to overcome my laziness and do the Creator's will. I do not want to listen to your arguments, the argument of a righteous that you are making. Wicked was the opposite. When Jacob came to him and wanted to give him his possession of Torah and mitzvot, told him, I have a lot, that is, I have a lot of Torah and mitzvot from other people. We're all working for me and not for the Creator. But you are righteous. You are not working for me but for the Creator. Therefore, I have no part in your Torah and work. This is why I do not want to receive it and admit it into my authority. Rather righteous, and you are working only for the Creator. Sulam asked about it, which of them made the true argument, Laban or? He said that in truth both say the truth. What is good for the Sar? The other side, that they obstruct a person from achieving wholeness. The differences in their arguments, whether it comes before the act or it comes after the act, that is prior to the act, when a person wants to overcome and do something in Kadasher to benefit the Creator. The evil inclination dresses in the argument of a righteous and tells him you cannot do anything for Kadasher. Rather, everything you do is for me. This is called all that you see is mine. That is, you are doing everything for the Sar. In that case, it is better for you to sit and do nothing. Why exert to overcome your laziness? By this it subdues a person so as not to engage in Torah and mitzvot. This is Laban's argument. Esai's argument is after the fact. That is, if one finally overcomes Laban's argument and follows the path of Jacob, Esau comes to him and says, you see what a mighty men of war you are. You are not like your friends. They are lazy, and you are a men. There is no one like you. This puts him into the lust of pride, of which our sages said, Rav Caster said, any man in whom there is crassness of spirit, the Creator said he, and I cannot dwell in the world. For this reason, Jacob counters him and argues, this is wrong. Everything I did was only for ye, meaning for his own benefit, which is a will to receive that belongs to the Sitra on the other side. Now I must begin the work anew, so it will all be for the Creator and not for you. But until now I've been working only for you. And this is what Jacob gave to Asher, is a gift and would not receive from him, and argued to the contrary, that Jacob was righteous and worked only for the Creator and not for his own benefit. Now we can interpret what we asked. How can it be said that the good inclination said to the evil inclination, if you take the right path, I will take to the left, after all the path of the left belongs to the, not to the side of holiness? According to the above, we can interpret that the good inclination said to the evil inclination, you should know that you cannot deceive me, because I know one thing, that you want to obstruct me from achieving the degree of a servant of the Creator, meaning that all my thoughts will be in order to bestow, and you due to your role are trying to leave me in self-love. Therefore how can I listen to you right? Meaning when you come to me and clothed in the argument of a righteous, namely advise me to be righteous and work for the Creator. This cannot be, since it is not your role. You probably want to fail my achieving the goal with your counsels. For this reason, when you come with the argument of the right called Laitman, what should I do? Anything but listen to you and do the complete opposite of your opinion. This is why it is written, and if to the right, then I will go to the left. Accordingly, a person should always be alert and not fall into the net of the evil inclination that comes to him with the arguments of a righteous, and not listen to it, although it makes us understand that we are not going on the straight path, since what we want to do now is a commandment that comes through transgression. By these words, it ties us, and we fall into the trap and the net as it wants to control us with the justness of its words. It is said in the name of the Barmto that to know whether it is the advice of the evil inclination, we must scrutinize. If what it says requires labor, it belongs to the good inclination. But if listening to it will cause you not to need to labor, it is the sign of the evil inclination. It is we can discern if this is the advice of the good inclination or the evil inclination. For example, if a thought comes to him that not every person should rise before dawn, that this work belongs to people who stoys their craft, and not just any Jew, and equal wise disciples who must keep, and he will contemplate his Lord day and night, but just a Jew. It also brings evidence from the words of our sages to justify its argument. From Rabbi said in the name of Rabbi Shammai, even if a person reads only the Sharma reading morning and evening is kept, the book of Torah shall not move from your lips. Thus, it argues before him that it is better for you to get up in the morning, like everyone else, and not be tired the rest of the day. Then you will be able to pray with more intention, and you will be able to pray if you rise before dawn. It is known from all the books of that prayer is the most important, since in prayer the person thinks of nothing but that the Creator will hear his prayer. The prayer is when we can aim more easily and feel before whom we stand. It is not so when studying Torah. Although it is written learning Torah is equal to all of them, it is also interpreted that the meaning is that the Torah brings one importance and greatness of the Creator. It follows that the Torah is only a remedy that brings a person the ability to pray and feel the words before whom you stand, which is a remedy by which to achieve decision. When a person prays to the Creator, he can know with whom he speaks and in what manner he is speaking with the Creator. At that time he can annul before the Creator, and this is the most important, that he will annul his own authority. He needs to come to feel that there is nothing in the world but the Creator, and a person wants to adhere to him and annul his own authority. Our sages said even more, all the good deeds that a person does, both Torah and other things in Kadasher, a person can see if they are all in order according to his feeling during the prayer. It follows that prayer is the most important. If you rise before dawn, it will all be ruined. So what are you gaining? Clearly, it is arguing the argument of a righteous. At that time, a person can scrutinize. If he listens to its argument and it will give him more work, then he can know it is the argument of the good inclination. If he listens to its advice and it will give him less work, it is a sign. But now the evil inclination is speaking to him, but it is clothed in the argument, are righteous. By this it traps him in the net it has set up for him by speaking to him the words of the righteous. In truth, we always need a guide who knows how to lead a person so as to tell between truth and falsehood, since one cannot scrutinize alone. Accordingly, when the evil inclination comes with an argument of a righteous, wanting to advise a person how he can enter Kadashar. We can interpret what our sages said. Anyone who boasts with a talit, a prayer, sh of a wise disciple, but he is not a wise disciple, is not admitted into the presence of the Creator. We should understand why it is such a grave sin to boast with the mantle of a wise disciple, meaning to regard the clothing of a wise disciple so highly as to boast of it. After all, he did not commit such a grave transgression, worthy of such a harsh punishment, as to not be admitted into the presence of the Creator. It implies that we are speaking of a person who is worthy of being in the presence of the Creator. But this sin of boasting with the garment of a wise disciple deserves such a harsh punishment. We should interpret that it means that even when the evening nation comes to a person and boasts of the tal of wise disciple, meaning speaks to a person like a wise disciple speaking to an uneducated person and advising him to be a wise disciple. It is a Sam asked, what is a wise disciple? Why do we not say simply wise? It implies we should know that wise means the Creator, whose desire is to bestow upon his creations. One who learns from the Creator this quality of being a giver is called by his disciple, meaning that he has learned from the Creator to be a giver. Now we can interpret that the even inclination comes to a person and advises him how to achieve attention with the Creator.